Hello, everyone. In this video, I will give you information about what is the capital of the Republic of Turkey. You will know more about the capital of the Republic of Turkey after watching our video. If you like our video, please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, if you want to watch our other videos, you can visit our channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications to be notified of our new videos. Now, let's watch our video to learn more about the capital of the Republic of Turkey. Capitals are all political, economic, cultural, administrative, military, security, etc. of the countries. They are the life centers, or in other words, their brains, where decisions are made and evaluated with issues. For this reason, the name of the capital of that country was used rather than the name of the countries, and it was frequently seen that the states were destroyed when the capitals were captured. Since the Turks came to Anatolia, their capitals have also changed according to the position of the state. After Bilecik, Bursa, and Edirne, the capital was moved here with the conquest of Istanbul. As stated in the Misak Milli, Istanbul was a capital with three heads: 1. Paydat Sultanat Siniye, 2. Makarkalifa Islamiye, and 3. Merkez Government of Osmaniye. In other words, it was both the city where the Ottoman throne was located and the headquarters and government center where the Caliph of the Islamic world resided. As such, Istanbul was located in the middle of the state. Anatolia on one side, Rumelia and Balkan lands on the other. From a strategic point of view, Istanbul was at the intersection of the sea routes from the Black Sea to the Mediterranean and the land routes from Asia to Europe. This strategic feature, which provided an important advantage in the periods when the state was strong, made the country open to threats from so many different directions from sea and land together with the weakening of the state. The changing borders in this perilous situation of Istanbul made the debates on the relocation of the capital important in the 19th. Brought to the fore in the first half of the century. Von Moltke, who was an officer in the Ottoman army, suggested the relocation of the capital in 1839. A similar proposal came from von der Goltz Pasha after the 1877-1878 defeat. According to him, it was appropriate to transfer the capital to Konya or Kayseri or somewhere further south. The beginning of the First World War in 1914 and the relocation of the capital to Anatolia, Eskişehir or Kayseri during the Çanakkale Front during the war were brought to the agenda, and even necessary preparations were made in this regard. Thanks to the incredible success on this front, the transfer of the capital has fallen off the agenda. The plans to share Anatolia made during World War I were put into effect with the Armistice of Mudros, signed on October 30, 1918 at the end of the war. After the Allied powers settled in Istanbul on November 13, 1918, the issue of deporting the Turks to the east came to the fore. Because the British wanted to move the capital to Bursa and take Istanbul from the Turks. The occupation of Izmir by the Greeks, and the arrival of Mustafa Kemal in Anatolia right after this, all eyes turned to Mustafa Kemal Pasha. The rationale and program of the national struggle, which was put forward by the Amasya decisions taken after the circular published in Hafsa, took a concrete form in the Erzurum and Sivas congresses. During these events, the occupation was expanding in western Anatolia. According to Mustafa Kemal Pasha, the center of gravity of the national struggle to be held in Anatolia would be the western Anatolia, that is, the Greek front. On the other hand, due to the assembly in Istanbul, Sivas was far from here. Since the telegrams were summarized here, there was a problem. The Istanbul Railway also extended to Ankara. All these thoughts caused differences of opinion among the nationalists during the 18 days after the Sivas Congress, when the communication with the Istanbul government was cut off, until the resignation of Damit Ferit. The administrative vacuum that emerged in the same period was tried to be filled with the telegrams published by Mustafa Kemal Pasha on the night of 13-14 of September, but these telegrams also increased the differences of opinion. While such divisions were experienced during the national struggle, in Istanbul, the British were making plans to expel the Turks from Istanbul. Mustafa Kemal, a great strategist, followed the occupation states, the governments of Istanbul, and the developments in Anatolia closely and planned his future plans according to these developments. Upon the disagreements between the Board of Representatives and the organizations, Mustafa Kemal Pasha, the place where the assembly will meet, the elections, etc. In order to resolve the differences of opinion that arose on the issue, the Board of Representatives held a joint meeting with the corps and division commanders who supported the Anatolian resistance. On November 18, the third day of the meeting, Mustafa Kemal drew attention to the need for the Council of Representatives to be in a closer location to monitor and manage the House of Deputies and the nation after the assembly was opened. With this direction of Mustafa Kemal, it was decided that the headquarters of the Board of Representatives would be in Saygazi, near Eskişehir. However, Ankara was preferred with the suggestion of Ali Fuat Pasha. It was decided to keep this decision secret for a while and to announce it when the time came. Acting in line with this plan, Mustafa Kemal and the members of the Representative Committee left Sivas on December 18, 1919 and continued the historical journey of the War of National Independence and Sovereignty, and came to Ankara on December 27, 1919 via Kayseri, Hikbektas, Kırşehir, Kahraman, and Beynam. In 1921, Mustafa Kemal was asked by the American journalist Clarence Kashtrite about where the capital of Turkey would be. Although the Sultanate and Caliphate will remain in Istanbul, the center of the real government, the national government, will be in Anatolia, that is, it will be located in the middle of the home, which is better protected than Istanbul. Kayseri, Sivas and Yozgat are among the places that can be capitals. A commission will examine this central region with the aim of establishing our capital, said. When Mustafa Kemal visited him, Le Temps newspaper writer Bertha Georgiangalis was asked about the capital again. Our political capital will remain in the middle of Anatolia. He also said in his private meetings that this would be Ankara. The importance of Ankara in the War of Independence was due to the fact that the enemy occupied Give Strait, Kütahya, and Afyon, and its combat capabilities were sufficient, after the liberation of Anatolia from enemy occupation, became the capital of the young Republic of Turkey. On October 9, 1923, Minister of Foreign Affairs İsmet Pasha submitted a one-point bill to the parliament, which included the phrase "the administrative center of the Turkish state is the city of Ankara." In the news published in the İkdam newspaper on October 10, it was stated that according to the circular given by İsmet Pasha and his friends at the meeting, which lasted from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m., it was accepted to add the article Ankara city as the administrative body of the Turkish state to the organization SSCLI. It was stated that the issue will be brought to the agenda again in the general meeting of the Assembly the next day and the legality of the article will be defended. In the news titled Ankara Central Government in the Tani newspaper of the same date, there was information that the proposal to name Ankara after Gazi Mustafa Kemal Pasha was not even put on the agenda by the chairman of the meeting, Mustafa Kemal Pasha. The bill passed quickly from the Laya Commission on October 10, and the Constitutional Commission on the same day, and came to the General Assembly of the Assembly on October 13, 1923. The bill was accepted by a majority of votes after discussion. Upon the objection of some deputies with their unanimous voices to the majority of votes statement of Session Chairman Ali Fuat Pasha said, "Sir, there is a hand that does not raise. I cannot say unanimously, I saw it, it was accepted by the great majority." He ended the session. This issue, which came to the agenda in the form of a law proposal, was addressed in the second session of the 35th meeting of the Grand National Assembly of Turkey dated 13.10/1923, which was held by the Constitutional Commission on the proposal of Malatya Deputy İsmet Pasha with the law numbered 2188 regarding the city of Ankara being the capital of the Turkish state. It was read and accepted as it is, and it was decided by a large majority that the city of Ankara. The adopted decision crowned Ankara's position as the capital, which had been the de facto center since the arrival of Mustafa Kemal and the Representative Committee, and became the capital of the young Republic of Turkey. Since this text was not a law but a decision of the Grand National Assembly of Turkey, it was later included in the constitution. In the second article of the constitution adopted by the Turkish Grand National Assembly on April 20, 1924, the capital of the Turkish state is Ankara. Brief history: Ankara was a small town of a few thousand people living mostly around Ankara Castle in the early 20th century. The fate of the city changed when Mustafa Kemal Ataturk and his friends made Ankara the center of resistance movements against the Allies in 1920 and established a parliament representing the people of Turkey against the Allied-controlled Ottoman government in occupied Istanbul after World War I. After the success of the Turkish War of Independence, the government and the empire in Istanbul were abolished by the Turkish Grand National Assembly in Ankara in 1923 and the Republic of Turkey was established. When you look at modern Ankara with a population of 5 million today, almost everything you see was built later. This does not mean that Ankara has no history. Located in the center of Anatolia, Ankara's history dates back to BC. Dates back to the 2nd millennium BC. Footprints of Hittites, Phrygians, Lydians, Persians, Greeks, Galatians, Romans, Byzantines and Turks still exist. The city of Ankara is located in central Anatolia on a plain suitable for settlement. The name of the city, which was first called Ankara by the Galatians, has changed its form as Ankara, Anger, Angaru, Angora until today. It is thought that the name Ankara, which is claimed to mean grape, orchard, curl in some languages, comes from the Greek Ankarasapa. As a matter of fact, it is known that the Romans chose the anchor as the coat of arms for the city, and this coat of arms is also seen on the Roman coins. The city, which has been on the trade route for hundreds of years, 17 and 18. All kinds of troubles, epidemics, wars. Despite the fact that the transportation routes changed when it was the center of mohair production and weaving, the British managed to raise the Angora goat, which they took from Ankara in the 1860s, in South Africa, caused the city to lose its vitality. Even the railway line reaching Ankara in the last quarter of the century could not revive the city. If you are traveling from Ankara Esenboga Airport, when you look at the wide areas around, this is where Timur encountered the Ottoman Sultan Bayezid I in the Great Battle of Ankara in 1402. The Esenboga region has since been named after one of Timur's famous generals and the commander of the famous fleet of the Bimboga. Ankara was recaptured by the Ottomans in 1403 and has remained under Turkish control ever since. Apart from the old city in and around the castle near Ulis and the unplanned shantytowns where people from rural areas have lived in the last 50 years, most of Ankara, a provincial town of 20,000 people in the early years of the Republic, is a purpose-built capital city due to its strategic location in the heart of the country. The history of settlement in the region dates back 1,000 years. The biggest claim to the town's fame was the long-haired local goat breed, named after the city's old name Angora, from which high-quality mohair textiles were produced. No longer any production farms where you can see them in the city today. Ankara is the capital of Turkey and the second largest city in the country after Istanbul. It is located in the heart of both Turkey and central Anatolia. The population of Ankara is 5,782,285 according to 2022. This population consists of 2,856,479 men and 2,925,806 women. As a percentage, 49.40 are men and 50.60 are women. Ankara is Turkey's administrative center and a large university city, so it has a large population of government employees and university students. As the national capital, Ankara is home to a large staff of foreign diplomats and embassies, so it offers goods and services that may be more difficult to find in other Turkish cities. Ankara is the capital and legislative body of Turkey, the Turkish Grand National Assembly TBMM. In addition, the presidency, which is the executive organ, and the Council of Ministers are located in Ankara in the presidential government system adopted with the constitutional amendment made in 2017. In this system, the president is the head of both the state and the government and has broad powers. This system changed the role distribution of the legislature and the executive in line with the principle of separation of powers. Ankara is a sprawling, modern city that may at first glance look like little more than a dull, concrete jungle. As a result, many tourists tend to use it just as a transit point to reach places like Konya or Cappadocia. But Ankara has a lot to offer for those ready to look a little deeper. Ankara has a symbolic significance for Turks. It is the place where a new era begins for the Turkish people. It is a symbol of independence, development and Western values. The fact that Ankara is a young and modern city, with its population growing from a few thousand to several million in less than a century, means that almost everyone comes here from somewhere else. That's why Ankara's population and culture is a mix of everything Turkey has to offer, with people from all of Turkey's cities. Ankara is a fairly large city with different towns and neighborhoods in their character. Most of the city's attractions run through the long Ataturk Boulevard, running and plunging the city from north to south. Starting from Ulis Square and going south on Ataturk Boulevard, you reach Kızılay, Kavaklıdere and then Sankaya. As you pass through these regions one by one, the standards increase noticeably. Ulis district is the historical center of Ankara, with many museums, early Republic buildings and ancient Ankara Castle. What was the Republic's most elegant center at the turn of the 20th century has now lost its charm and is a messy, crowded neighborhood. If you want to feel what life was like in Ankara once, you should find İmamoğlu Mahallesi, a newly restored neighborhood with old Ankara houses. A famous place for conservative Ankara residents. Walk the narrow traditional streets and enjoy sipping your Turkish coffee in a historic wooden house, especially at night. Kızılay is the working-class center of Ankara. The famous Kızılay Square, named after the destroyed Kızılay headquarters, is the political center of Ankara. Over the decades, numerous protests and rallies have taken place in the square, and even today, it is the center of political protests. Many roads and streets around Kızılay are better explored on foot, and there are many budget restaurants, cafes, bars and clubs with different tastes. Sakarya Caddesi Sakarya Yolu is a scattered pedestrian area with fishing, street vendors and restaurants. From the south side of Ziya Gökalp P Street, cross the parallel vehicle road and you will reach the area around Yüksel Caddesi Yüksel Yolu. This pedestrian neighborhood is an area with various cultural centers, cafes, bars, restaurants and bookstores, as well as those with leftist political views. Continuing southward, the area from Kızılay to Kugu Park is Kavaklıdere, also known simply as the Tunal District. Tunal Hilmi Caddesi Road runs parallel to Ataturk Boulevard and the locals simply call Tunali and its surroundings call it Tunali. The area is more cosmopolitan, open-minded and popular with young people. The back streets are full of cafes, restaurants, bars and rock venues. Walk down Kagulu Park to Argentina Street and finally turn left onto Palestine Street. These two are full of Ankara's chic and elegant, with high-end cafes and restaurants there to see and be seen. Further south, you reach the Atakul Tower in Ankara's diplomatic center, Sunkaya, where the former presidential palace and most embassies are located. Down from Kagulu Park, Ankara's most beautiful parks, namely Segmenler Park and Botanical Garden, can be listed in addition to the small but lovely Kagulu Park. When we look at the Bahçelievler district to the west of Kızılay, rather than this alignment on Ataturk Street, the 7th Road 7th Street and its surroundings are a student-oriented and family-friendly district with shops, cafes and restaurants, and the National Library is located in the Bahçelievler district. Further west, on the Eskişehir Road, you pass through the once suburban neighborhoods of Bilkent, Umutköy, and Sayalgu, which are new, modern towns that do not attract tourists but offer good food and nightlife. Ankara Uzunboga International Airport (ESB) is located approximately 28 kilometers northeast of the city. International flights are sparse and limited. Turkish Airlines (THY) offers direct flights to European hubs. For other carriers flying to Turkey, you must first fly to Istanbul and then take a domestic flight to Ankara with Turkish Airlines or Anatolia Jet. Ankara has several historical buildings and landmarks, mostly concentrated around the Ulus district. On a quick visit, you can enjoy the most important historical sites on an all-day journey. If you have even less time, two places that should never be missed are Anıtkabir and the Museum of Anatolian Civilizations. For longer stays, Ankara has a lot to offer as Turkey's modern capital. Ankara Castle, Cengel and Rami Koç Museum, Anatolian Civilizations Museum are within a 5-minute walking distance and very close to Ethnography Museum, State Painting, and Sculpture Museum, Hak Bayram Mosque, Salt Ulus, Temple of Augustus and Roman Baths. They are all located in Ulus. Important points: the Presidential Palace in Ankara is a campus located inside the presidential complex and consists of the working buildings of the president. It was completed in 2014 and made available to the president. The Millet Mosque and the 15th of July Martyrs Monument are also located inside the palace. There is also a library called the National Library in the presidential complex. The library serves with a seating capacity of approximately 5,500 people in an area of 125,000 square meters. There are 4 million printed, over 120 million electronic publications, 550,000 e-books and rare works in the library. The library is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The history of the TBMM building changes depending on the fact that it served in different buildings in different periods. The first TBMM building was built in 1915 and was used between April 23, 1920 and October 15, 1924. The second Parliament building was started to be built in 1923 and served between October 18, 1924 and 1960. The current Parliament building, on the other hand, continued to be constructed in 1942 and was opened on January 6, 1961. Hak Bayram Mosque, located next to the Temple of Augustus, was first built in 1427, but was later restored to its present form in the 17th and 18th centuries. The impressive interior features a wooden ceiling and Kütahya tiles. The Mausoleum of Hak Bayram, built in 1429, is next to the mosque. Anıtkabir, open every day except Mondays, located on an imposing hill in the city's Antep district. The construction of Anıtkabir, designed by Eminönü Anadolu Arda, started in 1944 and was completed in 1953. Anıtkabir is considered an example of the second national architectural movement of Turkish architecture. The Ataturk and the War of Independence Museum includes a section for the War of Independence inside the Anıtkabir, which includes a large collection of Ataturk memorabilia and equipment, and panoramic views of the battlefields. Turks show great respect to Ataturk and millions of people visit Anıtkabir every year. Contrary to the mournful visits on November 10, the anniversary of his death, the Turks turned Anıtkabir into a fairground where celebrations were held on national holidays. It will be a wonderful experience to visit Anıtkabir on one of the national holidays: April 23 National Sovereignty and Children's Day, May 19 Commemoration of Ataturk, Youth, and Sports Day, August 30 Victory Day, October 29 Republic Day, The site and museum are free. Atakul Tower, Sankaya. It is one of the tallest buildings in the city with a shopping center located under the tower. At the top of the tower there is an observation table with a beautiful view of the city. To reach Atakul, you can use any bus with this point route. You can turn step by step on Sina Street and continue on Ataturk Boulevard. It will take approximately 40 minutes to Xli in heavy traffic, and much shorter during off-peak hours. Ulus and Cumhuriyet Ankara. There are many buildings built in the first years of the historical Ulus Republic on and around Ataturk Boulevard. The architecture, which was once the center of Ankara, was also influenced by the Republican revolutions. Observe the facades of buildings that show a national movement, mainly influenced by the revolution, using neoclassical Turkish symbols and in contrast to the Arab influences of the Ottoman era. Better examples are the State Painting and Sculpture Museum building, the Ethnography Museum building and the historic bank buildings on Ataturk Boulevard. Hamamonu is a recently restored neighborhood with Ottoman-style timber Ankara houses, and one of the most interesting parts of Ankara to visit. Located down the hill from Ankara Castle near Ulus, Hamamonu is an entire neighborhood of narrow streets, old houses and historic buildings. Most old houses are now restaurants, cafes or souvenir shops. In addition to the neighborhood itself, there are 4 historic mosques to visit: Hasi Musa Mosque, Deseddin Sultan Mosque, Karacabe Mosque, Sarikati Mosque. Mehmet Akif Arsoy, the famous Turkish poet also writing the lyrics of Turkish national anthem, had his house here, which is now a museum named after him. His statue is also placed in the central square. The art street is full of shops selling local art crafts and souvenirs, and the handcrafts market is where local women sell their crafts and works. Hamamonu can be visited day or night, but especially in good weather, it is more alive after dark. During the month of Ramadan, the local municipality organizes lots of events in Hamamonu, and the area gets entertaining after dark, but also very crowded. Hamamonu is one of the best places to get a feeling of what an Ottoman town was like centuries ago, and get a sip of Turkish coffee, a breath of Nargile smoke pipes, or just gather around. Museums: Museum of Anatolian Civilizations, Anatolian Civilizations Museum, Gözkusakak 2, Ulus. On the way from Ulus to the castle, exhibition of artifacts from the civilizations of Asia Minor, Anatolia. The oldest artifacts on display date back to the Paleolithic period. Chosen as the Museum of the Year in Europe in 2002, this museum is one of the best in Turkey and makes Ankara worth seeing. The building itself occupies 2 very handsome Ottoman-era buildings. State Art and Sculpture Museum, near the Ethnographic Museum. In addition to temporary exhibitions, it hosts galleries, a permanent exhibition of Turkish art from the late 1800s to the present. Ankara Ethnography Museum, Talat Paşa Boulevard, Ulus opposite the Opera House. It showcases traditional Turkish clothing and items. Ankara Foundation Museum, Ataturk Bulv, Ulus. A beautiful museum with 4 galleries on 2 floors showcasing Turkish handicrafts including metalwork, calligraphy and carpets. Sengalan Rami Koç Museum. The Industry Museum was established in Sengalan, a historical caravanserai, next to the entrance of Ankara Castle. The technological progress since the 1850s is exhibited in this museum located in the building. The museum contains a variety of curiosities and collectibles, including model trains for modeling planters. It also contains a good collection of children's toys and rooms that house various technological collectibles such as cameras, diving equipment, telephones. Most of the objects are from the private collections of the Koç family, owner of Koç Holding, one of Turkey's 2 largest holdings. VB Koç, the founder of Koç Holding, started his business in the small shop in the center of the building at the beginning of the 20th century. There is an entrance fee. A restaurant where you can eat is located inside the museum. Ereğli Archaeology and Art Museum. Ereğli Archaeology and Art Museum, opened in March 2015, is a private institution where Yüksel Erimtan's collection will be exhibited together with contemporary works of art for the purpose of protecting and promoting cultural heritage. The museum, which was opened in Ankara Historical Fortification Square in the first quarter of 2015, welcomes its visitors with its contemporary architectural understanding and harmony with Ankara's historical structure. Surmodern. The city's recently opened April 2010 Modern Art Gallery, is located in the historic maintenance hangars of the Turkish Railways. Contemporary Art and Concerts. The War of Independence Museum, Ulus Square. This was the building that originally housed the first Turkish Grand National Assembly, where the War of Independence was conducted in 1921-22, as can be seen from the photographs and other items in the exhibition. Wax works of former Turkish presidents are also on display. Saltulus is a contemporary art center that hosts various exhibitions, events and programs related to art, design, urbanism and social issues. It is located in the former Ottoman Bank building in Ulus, which is a historical and cultural district of Ankara. Saltulus aims to create a platform for dialogue and exchange among artists, researchers, activists and the public. Saltulus is open from Tuesday to Saturday, 11 o'clock 1800 hours, and admission is free. TCDD Open Air Steam Locomotive Museum. An open-air museum. Ankara Aviation Museum, Etimeskut near the highway to Istanbul. Various aircraft, aerospace items, missiles, and a number of MiGs from the other side of the Iron Curtain, along with those not on display. It's not a big museum like the one in Istanbul, but it can be interesting. Its full name is the Air Force Museum, that is, the Air Force Museum. Meet a Science and Technology Museum at the Middle East Technical University campus, on the Eskişehir Highway. MTA Natural History Museum, MTA Natural History Museum, a museum on nature, fossils, geology. It is located on the highway leading to Eskişehir. Archaeological ruins and highlights Ankara Castle. Standing on a high hill overlooking Ankara, above Ulus, Ankara Castle is a medieval castle more than 1,000 years old. The best way to explore the castle is to go on foot. The main gate is near the clock tower. After passing the main gate, the inner castle has several historic buildings, some of which have been well restored and serve as souvenir shops, cafes, restaurants and galleries. Walk further to reach the stairs that take you to the castle walls where you will have panoramic views of Ankara. Ankara Castle and the structures inside have been restored, and the area of the inner castle closer to the main gate is on the better side. If you go further inside, there is an extensive program of restoring the citadel and the surrounding neighborhoods, which he has begun in the works. The outer fort is similarly interesting. On the opposite side of the main gate is Senglin, which now houses the Rumi Koç Museum. The old caravanserai has been perfectly restored and gives a good idea of what the area was like once. The narrow street running down from the Rumi Koç Museum's entrance is full of shops selling antiques, Turkish silverware and souvenirs. Temple of Augustus. The Temple of Augustus, next to the Hak Bayram Mosque, dates back to BC. It was built in the 1st century. Also known as the Monumentum Anserenum, the temple walls hold the best preserved text of the Res Gestae Divi Augusti in the world. Roman Bath. The open-air museum consists of the remains of an old bath from the Roman Empire. Beypazarı in the northwest is famous for its traditional houses, mineral water, bazaar and of course its bakery called Beypazarı Kursu. They are quite a lot for a small Anatolian town, making them the tourist attraction of the region. Make sure you book a weekend, you won't regret it. Gordian is one of Turkey's most important ancient cities and is located 96 kilometers west of Ankara, in Yashayuk, near Polatlı, off the highway to Eskişehir city, BC. It has been home to Hittites, Phrygians, Persians, Greeks and Romans since 3000 BC. The ruins of the city are exhibited in the Gordian Museum and Anatolian Civilizations Museum in Ulus. Kızılcahamam in the north is a town surrounded by forests with many hot springs. Bogazkul to the northeast is a center for visiting ancient Hattusa, the capital of the Hittites. Ankara is a great place to base yourself if you want to travel to Anatolia, Cappadocia or the Black Sea coast, and a growing number of tour operators and related service industries cater to tourists. All levels of accommodation are available here. Ankara has annual festivals, including Ankara International Music Festival, Ankara International Jazz Festival, Ankara International Cinema Festival and lots more, and it is always good to check what's going on in the city. Ankara Modern Arts Center Sagdas Sanılar Merkezi, opposite the American Embassy in Kavaklıdere, at Atatürk Boulevard has free exhibitions and performances, mostly of local and some famous artists, but sometimes of more impressive ones. Local and national groups play in Ankara bars and venues especially on the weekends. Sunny days get crowds filled to Nali Hilmi Road in Kavaklıdere, and 7. Caddy in Basılevler. Ankara offers a good selection of cinemas both in Kızılcahamam and Basılevler, as well as all shopping malls. There are several concert halls for classical music and opera. Many universities promote concerts and spring festivals, but these are sometimes open to their students only. Folk and traditional music is very live, from small bars and restaurants to big concert halls where you can find local stars. Depending on your interests, you can find trekking in local parks and in the surroundings, visiting the museums or hunting for the Ottoman or Selçuk remains in the ancient castle. Upscale shopping centers like Armada along the Eskişehir Road also offer cinemas, and Ankara's Castle has been a center of commerce for centuries, and carpet, leather, and antique vendors have slowly moved the tourist trade upwards. It's still a delicious place to walk and stroll, and there are family businesses where you can buy excellent rugs for a price. While walking down the castle, you can pass the covered market, an iron structure where you can buy very cheap and excellent products. Ankara has the largest shopping center area per population in Turkey. Most have the same brands that offer similar products. The shopping centers that are open every day are Oran, Kent Park, Kepa and Panora on the Eskişehir Road, and Panora in Armada and Ankamal in Akopru next to the Akopru metro station. Besides most international brands, there are also Turkish brands of similar quality. Turkey is a textile industry giant and Turkish brands can offer better deals for less. Some Turkish textile brand stores worth seeing are Vako, Beeman, Sarar, Tuzin female only, Roman female only, Fabrica, Zara, Kigili men only, Boyner Big Store, Koton, LCY Kiki, De Facto, Mevagents, Collins. Originally a glass manufacturing company, Paşabahçe shops sell Turkish glass artworks for every budget. They are perfect as unique Turkish souvenirs. Tunali Hilmi is the most well-known high street shopping destination. For Turkish jewelry and silverware, visit Kagulu Passage Old Style Shopping Complex opposite Kagulu Park Kugu Park on Tunal Hilmi Caddesi. The distant historical town of Beypazarı has handmade silverworks that are famous throughout the country. The best place to buy is the Jewelers Bazaar in Beypazarı, but if you don't have time to visit Beypazarı, Kagulu Passage Jewelry will also have such works of art. Ankara is best known for its doner kebab. To choose a good doner restaurant there are many, you should take a look at the doner tour. It should be rectangular, and the cuts should be straight and separate. There are chicken and beef options. Beef is the most famous. Like many other capitals, Ankara is the place to eat the best and freshest fish in the country if not the cheapest, all year round. There are various fish restaurants around Sakarya Street, from fast food to stylish ones. Besides the many classic Iskender kebab restaurants, there are also many restaurants that cater to the more affluent immigrant community, serving the traditional cuisine of a particular city, from the spicy urfa to the vegetable variety that comes with Adana kebab. Ulyad Egg Kebab, located on Deniz Saylar Caddesi in Ulis, has been operating for about 60 years and is one of the restaurants that mainly serve Iskender kebab. Among the doner and kebab restaurants in Kusuksat, Gaziantep Sofersi and the adjacent restaurants doner and kebabs are very nice. Kebabs in South Anatolian cuisine. Located on Gunaz Street, Hakarif Bey is a well-managed and delicious restaurant to taste Gaziantep cuisine. There are also many cheap restaurants selling fast food or kebabs, doner kebabs and lahmacun in Xli and Maltepe. In the Sankaya, Tunil, GOP region, you can find various varieties of Turkish cuisine and luxury restaurants with high prices. Kagulu Park is a public park in the Tunal Hilmi Caddesi. The park is known for its swans. Accommodation located in Kavaklıdere district, Sheraton Hotel, Hilton Hotel Radisson located in Ulis, near the train station, Swiss Hotel in Sankaya, Ramada and Kavaklıdere. On the elegant Tunali Hilmi Street notable independent hotels include the King Hotel behind the Parliament, near the American Embassy and Hotel Midas and Hotel Gold both north of Kavaklıdere on Tunisia Street. Angora House is a charming boutique hotel set in an Ottoman era house in the Citadel district. Theaters. There are both state and private theaters in Ankara. There are 15 different stages depending on the state theaters. The number of private theaters is around 30. Some of these are the 80th Year Theatre, Ankara Academy Art Theatre, Ankara Contemporary Art Theatre, and Ankara City Theatre. The International Ankara Theatre Festival is held in Ankara every year. Ankara Ataturk Cultural Center is a culture and art complex located in the Ulis district of Ankara. This complex was built in an area formerly known as Ankara Hippodrome where parades are held on national holidays. It includes Ankara Ataturk Cultural Center, State Opera and Theatre Building and Congress Complex. In addition, the name of Ankara Ataturk Cultural Center was changed to Başkent Millet Bahçesi in 2021. Newspaper. Some of the newspapers that are published in Ankara and focus on regionally recognized local news are Anatolia Gazete, a local newspaper that provides up-to-date information on Ankara news, politics, sports, economy and culture arts. Başkent newspaper, a local newspaper that follows Ankara's agenda and gives political, economic and social news. Haber Vaktim, a conservative newspaper based in Ankara, broadcasting nationally. Sports. There are many sports clubs in Ankara. Some of these are those: Ankara Demirspor, a sports club operating in the branches of football, basketball, volleyball, handball, athletics, boxing, wrestling and swimming. Osmanlıspor, a sports club operating in the branches of football, basketball, volleyball and handball. Gençlerbirliği, a sports club operating in the branches of football, basketball, volleyball, handball and table tennis. Ankara Gücü, a sports club operating in the branches of football, basketball, volleyball, handball, table tennis and gymnastics. Ankara Gençlik Gücü, a sports club operating in football, basketball, volleyball and badminton branches. Famous Ankara animals. Among the famous animals of Ankara are Ankara goat, Ankara cat, and Ankara rabbit. These animals are known for their wide and cotton-like plumage. The Angora goat is the only animal in which more production is carried out and has spread all over the world in Ankara. Angora cat is a long-haired, blue-eyed and intelligent cat breed. Angora rabbit is a large-built, docile and cute rabbit breed. Famous Ankara fruits. Various fruit trees grow in Ankara. Some of these are actic, pear, quince, almond and walnut. In addition, agricultural products such as barley, oats, sugar beet, melon and watermelon occupy an important place in Ankara. Among the ancient fruits of Ankara, cherries, plums, mulberries, grapes and apples can be counted. Famous Ankara foods. Ankara's most popular foods include Ankara tava, beef hazır gaveci, subyup pickled sticks, beef hazır kurusu, insidye soup and enteki pastry. In addition, civet dessert and mama cookies are also very popular. Ankara sea meat is indispensable for Ankara residents. Industrial activities in Ankara are very diverse. There are flour industry, generator, air conditioning industry, various branches of machinery industry, military electronics industry, spare parts factories for military aircraft industry and defense industry institutions in Ankara. In addition, due to the large number of universities in Ankara, there are important facilities in the fields of RD University. There are many universities in Ankara. There are 28 universities in Ankara, 13 of which are state universities and 15 are foundation universities. We can say that some universities in Ankara stand out in national and international rankings. For example, universities such as Middle East Technical University METU, Hacettepe University, Ankara University, Gazi University and Bilkent University are among the most prestigious and preferred universities in Turkey. Language center. Turkish is a Ural-Altaic language closely related to Azerbaijani, Turkmen, Uzbek, Tatar, Kazakh, Kyrgyz, Uyghur and many other languages of the Turkic language family. The grammar is different from most European languages. Hungarian has related structures instead of Estonian and Finnish, making it difficult to understand initially. One of the most respected institutions for those who want to learn the Turkish language is Ankara University Tömer. Tömer has mother tongue schools in Ankara and has branches in many cities across Turkey. Highway. Ankara has highways that will enable it to go to other big cities in a short time and easily. Ankara-İzmir Highway connects Ankara and Izmir with a 501 km long highway. The Ankara-Istanbul Highway connects Ankara and Istanbul with a 426 km long highway. Ankara-Bursa Highway connects Ankara and Bursa with a 500 km long highway. All of these highways are planned to be completed in 2023. Motorway connections with other cities are not yet completed. However, the Ankara-Niğde Highway connects Ankara to Niğde as well as the state roads to Antalya, Muğla, Sivas, Agri, Hakkari, and Trabzon. This highway was opened to traffic in 2020. Being in a central location in Turkey, Ankara is also the center of the Turkish rail network and can be reached from many cities. There are now high-speed services to Istanbul and Konya. The new high-speed train from Istanbul to Ankara takes around 3 hours and 30 minutes. High-speed trains also run frequently during the day to Eskişehir and Konya, and both destinations take less than 1.5 hours, allowing day trips from Ankara. All trains are operated by Turkish State Railways. The train station is located north of Kızılay Square, which itself is connected to by a large number of public buses that stop right in front of the station. About a 10-minute walk away, on the other side of Gençlik Park, is Ulus Metro Station, which has services to a number of central locations in the city, in addition to Kızılay. If you are traveling from places other than Istanbul, you will find that buses are fast, expensive, and modern. The buses terminate at the bus station Otogar named Asti pronounced Ashti and almost exclusively known as such locally Ankara Intercity Terminal operations standing for Ankara Intercity Terminal. Most of the cities in Turkey have direct buses to the capital of Turkey, and buses are much faster than trains in Turkey. Asti is connected to Kızılay Square and a number of other central locations by a metro line. There are also free shuttle buses to Kızılay and a number of other locations run by the Asti administration. They depart from behind the main building. The city has a dense public bus network, a two-line subway called Ankara Metro and a single-line suburban railway called Ankara Balya train. For tourists, Ankara's public transit system, particularly the public bus network, can be some difficult to figure out because maps are rare and all information is in Turkish. Buses and metros tend to be very crowded during rush hour, especially on Mondays and Fridays. If you know the city well, public transportation, especially the metro, is an ideal way to get around, particularly for longer distances. For shorter distances, taxis are an easy, quick, and some expensive way to get around. There are two types of public buses in Ankara: those run by the Ankara municipality named Ankara Belediye Otobusları Ego and those run by a private corporation named Ankara Özel Halk Otobusları AO. You can differentiate these two types by their colors. Ego-run buses are white and blue while AO-run buses are blue. Both types of these public buses use the same bus network and bus stops. The Ankara municipal buses, named Ankara Belediye Otobusları Ego, consists of an extensive and dense bus network, and is owned and operated by the Ankara municipality. The Ankara non-municipal public buses, Ankara Özel Halk Otobusları AO, consists of an extensive and dense bus network, operated by a private corporation. Payment for non-municipal buses must be made in cash. Dolmuşs are privately run minibuses. They are as common as buses and run on specific routes. Güven Park at Kizili Square is the main stop of dolmuşs, running on all sides of central Ankara. You can alight anywhere en route, and to get on you simply flag one down, as you would a taxi. The fare is based on the distance traveled. The Ankara Metro, named Ankara Metrosu, consists of 4, if you count Başkent OSB Torkent as a separate line metro lines, which are called Ankara and Ankara Metro, owned and operated by the Ankara municipality. The West-East Light Rail line named Ankara and the North-South Heavy Rail Ankara Metro line are both mostly underground lines and intersect at Kizili Station. Currently, it is possible to go to all stations with one payment. The Ankara line runs between Asti Ankara Intercity Bus Terminal and Dikimivi. The line is 7 km long, 8.0 underground and 0.7 km surface railway, and has 11 stations. Except Emek Station, all stations are underground. The Ankara Metro consists of 3 lines: M1 M3. M1 line Kizili Başkent is 14 km long and has 12 stations. In February 2014, the M3 line opened as an extension. M2 line Kizili Koru has 11 stations and it's 16 km long. Ironically, this line has a station named MTA. M3 line Başkent OSB Torkent opened as an extension of the M2 line. To reach this line from the M2, leave the train coming from Kizili and Başkent and move to the other track. All stations are announced both on a screen on new trains used on the M2 and M3 and audibly in subways. Ankara Commuter Railway, called Ankara Commuter Train, consists of a single commuter line running on the national railway network owned and operated by the Republic of Turkey State Railways. Başkent is one of the projects that make a great contribution to Ankara's inner-city travel. With this project, which is 36 kilometers in total, Ankara-Istanbul, Ankara, Sivas, and Ankara-Konya high-speed train projects have been integrated within the city of Ankara. The corridor time, which is 19 minutes between Ankara and Sincan, is shortened by 8 minutes on average and is reduced to 11 minutes. With this decreasing time, at the same time, the travel between Ankara and Eskişehir decreases to 1 hour and 5 minutes. There are 184 kilometers of rails on this route, which is 36 kilometers in total. The project includes 25 platforms, 2 highway overpasses, 13 highway underpasses, 2 pedestrian crossings and 26 pedestrian underpasses. PCDD Silik also thought of disabled citizens in this very useful commuter train project and integrated systems that facilitate transportation for them into this train system. Each station has elevators and escalators. Especially in Lale, Sincan, Yenişehir, Etimesgut, Mamak, and Kayas, where passenger traffic is intense, newspapers, books and food are offered to the passengers and a pleasant journey awaits them. In the design of the Başkent commuter train, technological systems were used to instantly respond to every request of the passengers. At the stations, every need of the passengers has been considered and different services have been prepared for them. With Başkent, integration with the existing rail systems in the city of Ankara has been achieved. Connections were made with the Başkent Metro at Yenişehir Station, with the Kesiyorn Metro at Ankara Station, and with Ankara at Maltepe and Kurtuluş stations. Başkent has 4 lines between Ankara and Kayas, 5 lines between Bihizbi and Sincan, and 6 lines between Ankara and Bihizbi. Başkent stations consist of Sincan, Lale, Elvankent, YHD Eriman Station, Hippodrome, Etimesgut, Kurtuluş, Yenişehir, Sebesi, Mamak and Kayas and are located in closed commercial areas where passengers can meet their needs. There are also passenger transfers from Başkent's Yeni Şehir station to the Xli Metro, and to Ankara at Kurtuluş and Maltepe stations. Başkent, which carries 520,000 passengers daily between Sincan and Kayas, greatly facilitates transportation within the city with its many stations. In this commuter train, which is designed by integrating high-tech systems, every need of the passengers has been considered and the service has not been neglected for them. Among Başkent stations, there are private public transportation vehicles as well as metro, bus and Ankara, which are the transportation vehicles belonging to the metropolitan municipality. Since Ankara card is valid in all these vehicles, it is possible to get on the vehicle you want in Ankara with a single card. This saves passengers both time and the burden of issuing cards. The Teleferik is a cable car system that connects Yeni Mahalle metro station with Santep Center in Ankara. It has 4 stations and can transport up to 2,400 people per hour. Kesiyorn cable car provides service every day of the week. Taxis are plentiful in Ankara and are recognized by their yellow color and the word taxi on the car. All licensed taxis have the letter T on their license plates. It is very strange in America, taxi drivers are asked to tip from customers. They do not give change. If you happen to be in America one day, you should pay attention to this situation. Ankara is well connected with a good public transport network system. Private and public bus operators compete for your patronage, and there are Dolmus minibus transport providers that offer fast transfers and get you to your ports. The underground metro is quite efficient and runs between the outer suburbs and the inner city bus terminal Asti. Taxis are easily available and are probably the best way to get to your destination. Ankara's security may vary depending on where you live, the sector you work in, your social life and personal preferences, but in general, it is a safe and secure city. Ankara Police provides various services to assist tourists. Some of these are those: Tourism Branch Directorate. It is a unit under the Ankara Provincial Police Department. Tourists have duties such as protecting security, peace and rights, supporting tourism activities, maintaining order in tourism areas and guiding tourists. Tourist Police. These are the police working within the Directorate of Tourism Branch. It consists of trained and experienced police in the field of tourism, who speak foreign languages to assist tourists. Tourist police work in touristic places, hotels, shopping malls, transportation vehicles and airports. Tourist information offices. These are the information points where the tourist police are located. It gives information about Ankara to tourists, receives their complaints and requests, and helps in emergencies. Punishment for police who do not help tourists. The General Directorate of Security has issued a circular stating that policemen who mistreat tourists and do not help them will be penalized. According to this circular, it is the duty of the police to treat tourists with respect, courtesy and tolerance, to find solutions to their problems, to guide them. Climate. Like other parts of the Anatolian plateaus, Ankara has a continental climate. Winters are cold and often snowy. Temperatures are usually below freezing this season, but rarely drop below 15 C at night. Hot and dry summers are more comfortable than in coastal areas of Turkey, thanks to low relative humidity levels. The average daily temperature in midsummer is around 30 C. Daily temperatures can reach 35 C and above. In recent years this has begun to last for more than a few weeks. Summer nights are cool, but be sure to bring at least one cardigan to wear outdoors. Spring and autumn are the wettest seasons. The average annual precipitation in Ankara is 451 millimeters. The annual precipitation lasts from September 17th to July 15th for 9 months with a dynamic 31-day precipitation of at least 13 millimeters. The rainiest month in the Ankara region is April. Agriculture and livestock. Ankara is a rich province in terms of agriculture and animal husbandry. Plants such as wheat, barley, sugar beet, potatoes, beans, lentils, paddy and sunflower are grown in Ankara. Fruit growing is also developed. Fruits such as pears, apples, apricots, cherries, sour cherries, plums and walnuts are produced. The most grown fruit in Ankara is grapes. Livestock is also an important economic activity of Ankara. Angora goat is famous for its mohair production. In addition, sheep, cattle, buffalo and chicken breeding are also carried out. Various projects and services are offered to support agriculture and animal husbandry in Ankara. Districts of Ankara, Kirdalton, Dagayas, Balabi, Pazar, Saldir, Sunkaya, Subukel, Madageti, Meskut, Tavern, Gulbas, Gudil, Haimanakara, Mankas, and Kalasit, Kesior, and Kzilkahamamamak, Nelhan, Polatl, Persaklarsin, John Seraflikashi, Saryeni, Mahala. Summary: historical and touristic places to visit in Ankara. Ankara Castle, Hamamonu District, Temple of Augustus, Roman Baths, Pazar, Julian Column, Ankara Vineyard House, Rice and Saman, Pazarksli Square and Tunal Hilmi Street, Duatip Monument, Test Ergun Castle, Kalasi Castle, Atakulaka, Bru, Ankara Hot Springs, Ayaz Thermal Springs, Kzilkahamam Thermal Springs, Pazar, Datlutotl Thermal Springs, Kapwilu Thermal Spring, Haimana Thermal Spring. Churches in Ankara: Catholic St. Paul's Church, Catholic St. Teresa's Church, Anglican St. Nicholas Church, Ankara Synagogue. Ankara's historical mosques: Hak Bayram Mosque, Jatape Mosque, Kaslanan Mosque, Dagram Zaid Ali Sami Pasha Mosque, Snabai Ahmed Pasha Mosque, Elvin Mosque, Hayakut Mosque, Karajabe Mosque, Kagasput Mosque, Kursunlu Mosque, Tisetin Sultan Mosque, Skog. Ankara Museums: Ant Kabir Ataturk and the War of Independence Museum, Anatolian Civilizations Museum, Ankara Ethnography Museum, Ankara State Painting and Sculpture Museum, Republic Museum 2. Parliament Building, MTA Natural History Museum, Ulukanlar Prison Museum, Ankara War of Independence Museum, I Grand National Assembly of Turkey, Gordian Ancient City Museum, Turkish Aeronautical Association Museum, PTT Stamp Museum, CBRT Money Museum, Aramton Archaeology and Art Museum, Sengel and Ramian Koch Museum, Me to Science and Technology Museum, Me to Archaeology Museum, Ankara Roman Bath Meteorology Museum, TRT Broadcasting History Museum, Gokiye Foundation Chess Museum, Ziraat Bank Museum, Foundation Works Museum, Altenkoy Open Air Museum, Sir Modern Memetaka Farsoy Museum, House DCDD Open Air Steam Locomotive Museum, MKE Industry and Technology Museum, Intangible Cultural Heritage Museum, Altenkosk Museum, Pink Mansion, Ankara University Toy Museum, Sunkaya Museum, Pavilion, Alikasu Astronomy Center, Ataturk Forest Farm Museum and Exhibition Hall, Pazar History and Culture Museum, Pazar Living Museum, Veterinary Anatomy Museum, Union of Turkish Bar Associations Law Museum, Gendarmerie Museum, Ankara's Parks and Gardens, Mogan Lake, Lake Blue Lake, Bandir Dam, Kagulu Park, Wonderland, Goksu Park, Youth Park, Dickman Valley Park, Sensor Park, Anfalton Parkle Park, Abdi Ipixi Park, Ankara Botanical Park, Segmenler Park, Guven Park, Kurtulis Park, Kalatlabel Facilities Park, Nalhound Bird Sanctuary, Aquavega Aquarium, Casioran Pets Park, Lausanne Park, Orange Blossom Park, Jamal Shuria Park, Elmadig Ski Center, Salt Lake Samkaru Nature Park, Subut Karagal Nature Park, Padul Sorgun Nature Park, Sahimler Nature Park, Agriva Nature Park, Butterfly Valley Nature Park, Take Mountain Nature Park, Lustag National Park, Sogsu National Park, Sakarya Pitched Battle Historical National Park. Thank you for watching the video. If you like the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, if you want to watch our other videos, you can visit our channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications to be notified of our new videos. See you later.